Is it? Wow, okay, I can't see anything. Hello, everybody. We are so glad that you are all here. We are so very grateful that everybody came out. Especially, guys, if you didn't know, Ian's mom is here, so we're very excited that she's here as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening. And if you could all give a round of applause for Ian McCoy.
Tomorrow night? I'm performing tomorrow night. That means one more rehearsal. We're gonna rehearse one more time. You know what they say. You gotta rehearse one more time. It's never enough. Okay, how does it start again? I don't remember. How does glasses? Okay. Megan will introduce me. She'll look amazing. She'll say some wonderful things. My mom's gonna be here. That's awesome. Gotta get ready for my mom. Okay, but the first thing that I do is after Megan introduces me, I'll be off stage and then I'll run on stage to a thunderous applause. Got it. All right, let's do this. And this is where Megan will introduce me. And then here I come. And I'll keep doing this as long as they clap. Oh, they love me. Oh yeah, okay. But for real, then we start rolling into it. Also kind words. Thank you guys so much for coming. I super appreciate it. I've been working on this for about 2 years now, and you know it's crazy the type of things that you really start to commit to. I never thought that I would rehearse this many times. 2. But it's a testament to the type of things that we can start commit to in our lives. I recently I started running. And I hate running.
You know, running is probably the worst thing a person can do. I think it proves the fall of man. But I've been running recently, and I think I look like a guy who can run a little bit, but I can't run at all. My body is a liar, really. When you look at me, you're like, he can probably, play a sport. Nay. I can watch a sport with you, and we'll have a good time. And my friends, they keep asking me to play sports with them, and I'm happy because I like pretending to have fun. So I'll go with them, And just recently, I was invited to play kickball with a couple of my friends, and I was like, kickball, I'm there, let's do it. And I get there, and they give me a color to signify what team I'm on. I'm like, great, I would have forgotten. And then they say, all right, Ian, you're going to play first base. I was like, first base, I got it, let's do this. And I run out to first base, and I'm standing there. And then one of my buddies yells at me, and he's like, no, Ian, stand in ready position. I was like, you got it. I'm feeling pretty ready. And then he says, no, not like this, like this. I was like, what social situations have you been in? In what world does this look more ready than this? Think of any other thing that you've been in, something high energy. For example, you're at a party, there's a dance floor. Hey, you guys want to get out there? This guy's ready to dance. This guy needs to sit down. I'm worried if this guy needs some water. That's some high energy, some low energy even. You could be at a book club. Does anyone want to read a bit of chapter 6? This guy does. This guy doesn't want to read anything. So now I'm standing out there like I'm not ready at all. And we're about to play the game. And the first kick that the opposing team did just went right to me, and I'm not that good at sports. So I wasn't able to get it. They scored a run. And it's like, all right, whatever. We'll get through this. Don't worry, guys. Morale. Hey. But then we realized that the opposing team actually had this really brilliant strategy of kicking it to me every time. And we lost. So we know that this was their strategy because they would move me around to different bases and positions, and the ball would follow me. And each time I was like, don't worry. And it never quite worked. Eventually they said, all right, we're gonna put you at catcher, because if you're at catcher, then they can't kick it to you. And I was like, that's exactly where I should have been this whole time. So now I'm at catcher, and we forgot that if you're the catcher, you are the last line of defense for the opposing team to score. So everybody went home, and we lost, and it was brutal. Because I hate running. Yeah. Running is just the worst thing. A friend of mine, she asked me to run with her recently, and I kept saying no over and over because someone in here? Sometimes you feel like people are watching you. I hate running. My friend keeps asking me to run with her, and eventually I said yes. Now, I was embarrassed, not because I'm ashamed of how athletic I am. I know I'm poor at things. That's okay. But I was embarrassed because I knew that she was a really good runner and would have to run at my pace. And I didn't want her to be like, oh, this isn't what I wanted at all. No, you're doing great. You know what I mean? So I eventually was convinced, and I was like, we're going to do all of the right things. I carb loaded the night before. I woke up, I stretched, I prayed. But I was nervous. There was like this knot in my stomach, and I was like, okay, wait. What if I give myself a little boost? I'll go to the store, I'll get an energy drink, and this will work. I go to the store, and the amount of energy drinks has grown in the past 10 years. And so I was a little bit confused and blindsided. There was this one brand called G Fuel. G Fuel, if you don't know, it's like marketed towards gamers or people that really like cartoons. Each flavor is based off of some type of character from some video game or show. And there was one that was Sonic the Hedgehog flavored, he's the fastest hedgehog alive. And I looked at that and went, I think I'm faster than a hedgehog, but I'll go for it. So I grabbed this Sonic G Fuel, and I go back to my house, and I'm waiting for my friend to come, and I don't want to drink it too early because I don't want to go crazy, but I don't want to drink it too late because I don't want to have to pee while I'm running. That doesn't sound like a good time. So I'm like watching the clock, and I'm like, okay, maybe just a sip. And I crack it, and I open it, and I take one sip of Sonic flavored G Fuel. I need to stress that. I took one sip. I took one sip of Sonic flavored G Fuel, and I ceased to be a mortal man. My heart started spinning just like the video game character, and I was like, are we ready to run, or are we ready to do this? Come on. My friend showed up. I took out the house, and she was chasing me. She couldn't keep up. She's still looking for me. I haven't seen her since. All right. And ideally, they laughed for a long time. Okay, after that, then we started rolling around a little bit, and then, okay. And then maybe some one-liners to transition us from that one to the next bit. One-liners, I can do this. I'm a comedian. Who unbreaks the fourth wall? That'll get him. I'm great at this. Okay, great. And then we'll start roll. Oh, shoot. Okay.
Hey, man. What's going on, Jay? I'm rehearsing for the comedy show tomorrow. It's going pretty well. Yeah, I would say it's the best day of my life. Thanks. I appreciate that. No, which one's your favorite bit? It's not, but maybe I can try to work it in. Yeah, great. I'll see you there. I appreciate it, man. Great. Thanks. Can I call you later? Great. Okay. So one time I was leading a discussion for a bunch of 8th graders. You don't need to know why. Because I did it for work. Now you know why. And I have a favorite get-to-know-you question, because when you have a lot of conversations in your life, it's good to have a few in your back pocket, you know?
My favorite get to know you question is, what's the funniest way you've ever been injured? Because there's no better way to get to know someone than by the dumbest things they've done in their lives. And I'm really, I've heard a lot of answers to this question. I've heard the classics. I fell off my bike, I stepped on a Lego, appendicitis. I've heard the greatest hits, ACL, FLU, TMI. That joke gets funnier the more you think about it. Well, there was this one time that I was hanging out with a bunch of 8th graders, and I was sitting down, and I have not met these kids so far. We were just about to start off. They don't know me, I don't know them, and I'm like, we're just gonna go for it. So the first words spoken in this group, hey, what's the funniest way you guys have been injured? And one kid immediately just, I was circumcised twice. Wait just a minute! Shut up about your femur, Charlie. We have something to discuss over here. Now that's a really extraordinary answer. And it's even more extraordinary when you remember that these were the first words spoken in the group. He was gonna say this no matter what the question was. And any normal person would have sat down and begun a conversation with, how's everybody doing? I was circumcised twice! So I think this sounds pretty recent. We're like, are you okay, my guy? And it just, listen. It just takes one person to make a joke before we're all making fun of this. You know what I mean? And we're not making fun of him, we're making fun of him. And as we start throwing around, how could this be? You realize there's only two possibilities. Possibility number one, there was a mistake in a routine medical procedure and there needed to be a do-over. There is a second option. Dual wielding? And listen, we never got to the bottom of it, but it was pretty exceptional. And since then, no one has impressed me in my life more than an 8th grade-year-old boy, and that's saying a lot about my life. Okay. I have a lot of great injury stories myself. I'm gonna tell you guys one. It was a perfect Saturday night. Cut, okay. Because I don't need to rehearse that one. I've said that bit since I was 16. I could do it in my sleep if I wanted. Okay, and then after that, we'll do the whole scar story. My mom restores sight to the blind, yada yada, and then airports are fun. I get to travel a lot for my work, and has anyone ever traveled before? Yeah. Frequent flyers out there? So you know. If you fly a lot, you get a story, and it's always the same story. And the story is, there was this one time, I almost missed my flight. And that's the whole story, every time. And there's only two endings to it. The first ending is, and then I didn't. And the other version is, and I didn't. Which is a terrible story. If you have a story where you were running late for a flight and you didn't make it, keep it to yourself. We don't want to hear those. But I fly a lot, and I've had a lot of great times at airports. In fact, I've been kissed twice, 2 different airports. The first time I was kissed at an airport, it was fun, flirty, and mutual. And the second time, it was none of those. Some of you are intrigued. There I was, sitting in my gate, and then she came. And she looked at me and she said, hey, excuse me, I'm new to flying, can you help me out? Am I in the right area for my gate? I was like, sure, no problem, let me see your boarding pass. I was like, yep, you're in the right place, you're gonna board in about 2 hours. And she said, thank you so much, when do you board? And I said, I board in about 4 hours, it was a longer layover. And she said, well, can I buy you a drink? I said, yes. Because I got a 4-hour layover to think about. So we mosey our way over to a bar, we sit down, we start chatting, it's pretty fun. I get a beer, she gets a cider, which was the first red flag. Frankly, I should have noticed that, but I didn't notice any of the following red flags, so you're just gonna have to walk with me on this one. So we're chatting, it's a really good time. I get to most of the way through my first beer when she orders me a second one without asking me if I wanted that next beer. And I was grateful, because now I got 2 beers. So I'm drinking my second beer, and this is the part where we're laughing a little bit, we're getting to know each other. And this is when she starts bantering with the bartender a little bit. And she says, "Isn't he a good-looking man?" And I looked pretty good that day. So I agreed. And then she leaned to the bartender and she said, "I'm 50 years old." That's a good point. Maybe I should tell the audience a little earlier that she was 50 years old. And then she says, "I'm 50 years old and he can't tell." And that made me uncomfortable. Because I could tell. I don't want to disrespect this woman, but sometimes when you're 50, you look 50. And this was one of those times. And she's looking at the bartender and she was like, "This is all Botox." And I could tell that too. But we're chatting, we're having a really good time, actually. I finished my second beer and I'm like, this is good. We looks like we're about to start wrapping up this conversation. Third beer placed on the counter. And now I have a decision to make. And I drank that beer. And it's right around this third beer time where she places her hand on my shoulder, and it didn't feel weird. It felt very platonic and normal. And she said, "Is there any girl in your life?" And I was honest. I said, "No." And she said, "Do you want there to be?" And I was honest, and I said, "Yes." And I started telling her about this girl that I was interested in, and how beautiful I thought she was, and all of these things, and her Botox smile was slowly fading away. And we're wrapping up our third beer now. She, by the way, only had the one-cider. That was a major red flag, but once again, I wasn't noticing any of these. And then she says, "Okay, we're wrapping up. I'm gonna have to get to my gate now." I was like, "Thank you so much for the beers. I super appreciate it. I hope you have safe travels. God bless. I'm a Christian boy." I'm gonna pray for this woman. And then she's puckered, which is not weird, because I'm from the South, and we were in the South, and she was from the South, and sometimes in the South, it's not terribly weird for a woman that you don't super know very well to kiss you on the cheek. And so I thought, I'm familiar, we're in my turf, absolutely. So I kind of give her my cheek, and then she goes, "No," and grabs my face, pulls it towards me, puts her other hand behind her head, and pulls me in. And then she walked away like it didn't happen. And I don't know if you've ever kissed someone with a lot of Botox. Rubbery. So she's gone now, walking out of my life, and I look at the bartender and I say, "Did that just happen?" And he said, "Do you need a water?" And I said, "Yes." Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, and then maybe some more one-liners here. Really know how to work an audience. All right. Oh, hang on.
Jay, my man, thanks for calling me back. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, it is still the best day of my life. I don't know, I started saying that, I think, in high school, and I just have stuck with it. Well, I found that a lot of my time was spent, really worrying about my future or being overly, scrupulous about my past, and I didn't want to live in either of those, so I was like, it's the now, and so I started this whole new trend of saying, it's the best day of my life, and it, refocused things. Yeah, no, I think it has done great. I'm very grateful that I have this habit. Yeah. Hey, yeah, well, I was just about to finish up rehearsal. I have just a couple more jokes and stuff that I'll go through. I am doing the scar story, but I'm not going to rehearse it because I know it so well. I wrote that routine when I was 16, and it hasn't changed. I could do it in my sleep if I wanted. Yeah, I am feeling really tired. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a quick nap. Do you mind if I just call you later, man? Great. I appreciate it. Yeah. See you. Cool. All right. Quick nap will do me good. It was a perfect Saturday night. You know the kind. Those perfect Saturday nights where nothing could go wrong. It was one of them.
Well, then fate decided that I would not have a perfect Saturday night anymore. And something awful happened. My baby sister opened the back door. I don't know why you're reacting. You don't know why that's a big deal. It was a big deal because I had a new dog at that time, and my dog, his name was Mike, because in my family we give our dogs people names. Mike wasn't very trained to stay in the house. He saw his opportunity for freedom, and he took it. He was gone. Now, this is important for me because I was that kid that went to my mom, and I said, Mom, can I please have actually, my mom is pretty short. I was like, Mom, can I please have a dog? And my mom was like, only if you take care of him. I was like, of course. And she said, if he runs away, he's your responsibility. Of course. And so now my perfect Saturday night is put on hold. And I'm a little bit upset about this. I was a little bit dramatic as a kid. So I get up from my seat, and I walk over, and I look at my baby sister, the one who opened the door. You remember her. And I look at her, and I say, this is all your fault. Slam the door and walk away. And I should not have said that. But I'll tell you why later. Because now I need to go get my dog. And I have a pretty good idea where my dog is going. Because every time I walked him, he would notice far off in the distance that the neighbors had horses. Because this was Texas. And every time he saw them, he wanted to go run in that direction and, I don't know, heal them? Something. It was innate in him, and he would tug on the chain, and I was young and frail, and that's not funny, and he would pull me away. And eventually, so I knew. The point is that I knew. And so in my backyard, we had a huge backyard, and then do you guys know what a barbed wire fence is? Yeah. If you don't know, it's a fence that hates you. So we had a big backyard, barbed wire fence, more of our backyard, another barbed wire fence, neighbor's horses. And that's where I'm headed, because that's where he's headed, and I'm running. We have big backyards in Texas. I hate running. I get through the first barbed wire fence, no problem. I keep running. Maybe it gets funnier the more I do it. I get up to the second barbed wire fence. My hunch was correct because I'm always right. Mike is definitely here. It's super dark. I can't see anything, but I do hear him, and he's having the time of his life. He's like, hey, horses, isn't this so much fun? And the horses are like, no, I'm going to sit on you. Except none of them spoke English. And I start yelling at my dog. I'm like, Mike, please, let's get back to the house and enjoy Saturday. But once again, my dog doesn't speak English, and this is a big problem in our relationship. And so we're going back and forth a little bit, and then eventually it sounds like this. I'm like, oh no, my dog just died. A horse just sat on my dog, and now my dog is dead, and now I need to come up with a new plan, so I yell at my dead dog. I'm like, Mike! So that we can communicate. You stay here! He has a choice of where he goes right now. I'm gonna go get a flashlight. Important information for the dog. And I'll be right back. Now the dog and I are on the same page. Are we on the same page? So now I have a plan. My plan is I'm gonna get a flashlight. And I mean, it's a pretty good plan. So I'm running, I'm freaking out. This is, this is a little bit more high stress than I was ready for with the whole dog departure. And I'm worried, the adrenaline is racing a little bit, and then it hits me. There's a barbed wire fence somewhere around here. And then it hits me. And I went right into the fence. I cut open my eyelid right here, and I start bleeding everywhere. If you don't like grotesque images, close your eyes. It was just a mess. And now I don't even care about the dog. I'm just running to save my own life, and I'm freaking out, and everything is going crazy, and the dog starts running along beside me. I'm gonna get you for this. And that's when the hero of this story, my older brother, starts sauntering out there like this, apparently. Because he was thinking, geez, maybe Ian needs help. And boy, did I. So I yell at him, Garrett! That's his name. He's like, what? I said, I'm bleeding from my face! He said, you should get to the house. I said, that's a great idea. I was gonna hang out with the horses? But you're onto something. So I run past him because he's no help now, but he will be later. And I run in, I charge through the back door of my house, and I'll never forget the face that my father made when he saw me coming in looking like a Batman villain. He did one of these. Ooh. I was like, I know, your Saturday's on hold too there, Dad. Now everyone starts to freak out. Because in my family, at the time, there were only two people that were pretty good with medicine. One of them was my mother, and one of them was my older sister. This story happens to take place on a night when my mom was at Mass and my older sister was at the movie theater. Two places where it is socially and morally unacceptable to answer the phone. So my brother starts calling these two to no avail because none of us know what to do. I feel like I'm going to throw up from all the adrenaline going through my body. The dog takes a nap in the corner because this is not a high-stress situation for him. And my dad is still watching the football game. Woo! Go Tigers, all right. And now the scene is set, and I remember that horrible, awful thing that I said to my baby sister when I ran outside. When I said, this is all your fault. I remember that in this moment of all moments. And I think, geez, I need to go tell her right now, of all times, that this is not her fault. So I get up from my seat, I'm running through the hallways, I'm repainting the walls red a little bit. And in my head, we were gonna have a conversation that went a little bit like this. Hey. Don't you worry about me. What I said earlier, that was wrong, and I'm sorry. This isn't your fault. You're good, I'm good. We're good. But that's not what happened. Because I had a lot of adrenaline. I couldn't calm down if I wanted to, so the conversation actually went a little bit more like this. It's not your fault, okay? And she goes, I'm kidding. She doesn't scream. She fainted. So now I have a fainting sister, a panicking brother, a sleeping dog, and my dad is still watching the football game. All right, touchdown. Here we go. It's at this moment that my older sister, the one good with medicine, the one at the movie theater, she thinks to herself, geez, I just got 17 phone calls in a row? Maybe something's going wrong. Yes, something was. So then my older sister and my older brother have a conversation on the phone that goes a little bit like this. Hello? Ian's bleeding from his face. What? Ian's bleeding from his face. Okay, this is what you're gonna do. Go to the medicine cabinet, get the peroxide. Okay, runs to the medicine cabinet, opens it up. We don't have peroxide. All we have is hydrogen peroxide. That's it. Okay, grabs it, unscrews it, runs it over to me, tries to pour it all over my face. Time out. For those of you that are aspiring to the medical profession, this is not how you do medicine. My sister starts yelling at him, no, don't pour it on his face, that's gonna blind him. What am I supposed to do? This is what you're gonna do. Go to the medicine cabinet, get a Q-tip, dip into the peroxide, dab it into the wound, that's gonna clean it. Got it. He gets some Q-tip, he dips into the peroxide, he ribs it into my face a few times, and then he takes that same Q-tip and dips it back into the peroxide. Once again, that's not how you do medicine here, people. So my sister thinks that he's doing a great job because she can't see anything. He's not doing a great job, and she should really be seeing this. And then my sister, we understand that she wanted to get back to her movie, and that makes sense. But she did the worst thing she could have done. She says, you're gonna get some gauze, wrap it with the gauze to his face, wrap the gauze over on his head, I'll stop the bleeding, I'll take care of it when I get home. And then she hung up. Did you understand that? Neither did my brother. He got some of the words. He heard, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna put it to his face. Wrap it around his head. We're gonna stop some bleeding today. He gets paper towels and scotch tape and mummifies me on the kitchen table. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, when did I become dinner? And it's at this moment, the adrenaline is finally calming down. When my mom comes home and she sees me, her baby boy, who she loves dearly, looking like something out of a butcher shop. And this is the second face I will never forget in my life. It was so sweet. She comes in, she goes, I said, I'm glad this is funny, Mom. And she walks up to me and she goes, that's a bit of a doozy, isn't it? You know what a doozy is? Me neither. So my mom was like, you should have been wearing your helmet. I was like, Mom, I was running outside. I didn't need to be wearing you should have been wearing your helmet. I should have been wearing my helmet. You're right. I'm sorry. So my mom starts taking care of me, and the paper towels and the blood, they had dried a little bit. And so she had to peel it off a little bit, and the tape out of my hair, and it was just this mess. But then she gets some fresh peroxide, she cleans me up, and patches me real good. And let's all take a deep breath, shall we? A few days later, I have the world's biggest black eye, and my dad approaches me and he says, Ian, I'm going to the Home Depot. And I was homeschooled, so I thought, that sounds like fun. And I said, well, let's get this show on the road there, Dad. And he says, all right, get in the car. And I run out the front door. And right outside the front door, there was this low-hanging beam. I hit the same spot! And now I'm clothesline. I'm lying in my asphalt driveway. I've reopened the wound. I'm bleeding all over again. I'm thinking, why? But my dad was there, and my dad saw last time. He remembers last time. He knows exactly what to do. Go find your mother. Yes, sir. I get up. I start looking for my mom. I'm like, Mom, where are you? Mom, where are you? And she said, is that another doozy? And I was like, yeah, I should have been wearing my helmet. I don't know, Mom. What do I do? Now, last time this happened, my mom, she took note of it, and she got this new medicine. It's called liquid skin. If you don't know what it does, it's really cool. It's like a glue. You brush it on a cut, it glues your skin together. Ladies and gentlemen, my face has been glued together. That's where I am in my life. Thank you for coming. So my mom's gluing my face together, and you know, we're having a dandy old time. And then eventually she says, all right, Ian, I'm done. You can open your eye. And I was like, great. Mom, my eyes glued shut. Your eyes glued shut? Mom, my eyes glued shut. So my story ends. My mom had to grab my eyelids and peel them apart from each other. And that's how my mom restored sight to the blind. Thank you very much. Just had this crazy dream. Oh, man. Oh, shucks. Oh, man. Oh, shoot. I overslept. It's tonight. I'm not ready. Shoot, am I ready? Do I look all right? I don't know. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Where was I? I had finished the airport story. And, okay. I was going to come up with a few more one-liners. Okay, I can come up with these real fast. Let's think. Is the fourth wall like a brick wall that needs to be rebuilt every time you break it? Or is it like a curtain? A stiff breeze could break the fourth wall. These are the jokes. I like it. Okay. Anyway. Okay. What if it's like a zipper?
You can unzip the fourth wall, poke your head out, and then re-zip it when you're done. No harm, no foul. They should ask me to fix the fourth wall. This is great. Okay, let's see. Well, I gotta talk about my mom. She'll be there. I can't not tell a story about my mom.
Golly, I've had a lot of strange pets in my life. Has anyone had weird pets before? Some of you have. I bet they'll start shouting out their weirdest pets. If someone says rat, that's really funny. Did you say your sister? You can't say that here. I don't know if anyone will say that. Then I'll say, I used to have a pet squirrel. I'd love to tell you about my pet squirrel. He was the best pet. I was walking through the woods, and I see him, and he's a squirrel. And you know how, like, when I was like 8 years old, and you know how you see a squirrel, and you're like, I'm gonna chase this squirrel, it's gonna run away, it's gonna be mildly entertaining, and that's a good deal. So I thought, oh yeah, time to chase this squirrel. So I run up and I'm like, boom! And the squirrel just kind of... And so now I've been disrespected by a squirrel. I'm like, wait, no, I haven't. Maybe he just didn't see me. I'll just get a little bit closer this time. I'm like, boom! And I kid you not, the squirrel did this. And now I've been disrespected by a squirrel. So I pick him up on the back of his neck and I'm like, you think you're so funny, don't you? And that's when I noticed why I was able to get so close to Trezar. That was his name, my son. Trezar was in fact covered in ants. And he was in so much pain that he couldn't run away from me. And now I feel bad. And I didn't ask for this. And so now I gotta take care of the kid. And I'm like, jeez. What? So here's the situation. You got a squirrel covered in ants. What do? What? Who said shake him? Plant an audience member to say shake him. I had what some of you said. I was like, I'm gonna get some water. We're gonna bathe this squirrel today, this wild animal. And my family, we have a lot of buckets. So I'm like, it's bucket day. Couldn't find a bucket on Squirrel Ant Day. This was a major problem. But I could find a frisbee. So I took my frisbee, I turned it upside down, had a nice shallow basin of water. And I was like, this is great. I can't drown him on purpose. Not that I would. And now I'm like, giving a squirrel a bath in a very shallow pool. And this is what you need to understand about psychology. Let's talk about it. Everybody take a sip. Trezar hates me because he's a wild animal, and I am a human person, and that makes sense. And I hate Trezar because every time he gets to feel pain, he just digs his claws into my arm, and it freaking hurts. And so now I'm just like shoving him into the water. I'm like, you will respect me, and he's just. And I get off a couple of ants. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And that's when the hero of this story, my mom, walks in. I love my mom. My mom always knows what to do. If you love your mom, let me hear you say, I love my mom. My mom walks out, and she sees her baby boy waterboarding a squirrel. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. My mom always knows what to do. Mom, my squirrel is broken. Please fix my squirrel. And my mom always knows what to do. Give him to me. Didn't even hesitate. So now my mom has my squirrel, and she says, you go run off to the house, and I'll take care of this. I said, thanks, Mom. I start running off to the house. I get to the door, and I turn around just in time to see my mother take Trezar and throw him over the fence. And I still haven't seen him. If you have seen a squirrel with a few ants on him, will you please tell him that I still hate him? I don't know if he was a flying squirrel before that day, but he was that day. Okay, all right, and then, they'll applaud. I don't know, maybe they won't, that's fine. that's it. We move into the last bit after that. The last bit. Oh, man. Maybe some more one-liners will carry us over. Maybe some. I think the one-liners are really going to sell tonight. I think people will walk away saying the one-liners were the best part of the show. And that'll be a little bit hurtful because there was only 2 of them. But that's okay. Yeah, because then after that we talk. Oh, shoot. Dang. Jay, my man. Jay. It's the best day of my life. Yeah, same old answer. That's me. I'm rehearsing one final time because it's tonight. I'm freaking out a little bit. I didn't know that I was. Yeah, I overslept. Yeah. No. I'm good. I'm really good. Yeah. No. It's the best day of my life. I don't know because I don't really care about my past or my future. Well, that's not what I mean. But you know what I mean. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, Jay. Can I just meet you tonight? Can I see you later? Can we talk? I appreciate it, man. Thanks. I don't really care about my past or my future. I didn't mean that. But I did say it. I started saying it's the best day of my life. I was in high school or something. And I said it because I wasn't as happy as I wanted to be, I guess. I don't know. I wanted to change. I wanted to make a difference in my life. And do you know that I haven't said anything else to the question, how are you? Then it's the best day of my life in 7 years. What if I haven't given myself permission in 7 years to have a day that was just okay? These are the questions. I can't think about this right now. I have a show to get ready for. I have one more bit to rehearse, and then it's showtime. Okay, I gotta get ready. That's crazy though. This is awkward. Okay. All right. Traffic cones. That's probably my most popular bit, I think of all of the bits I've ever done, this has gotten the best response. But you know what's crazy? This is, oh man, I gotta recheck the math. Like the traffic cone bit, it's totally true. Everything I say. I wish I could tell the audience that. What if I came up with a way to talk to myself for an entire show, and that felt a little bit goofy, but a little bit creative, and maybe just a little bit natural, so that by the time I got to the traffic cone bit, I could effectively communicate to everyone all at once that everything I'm about to say about traffic cones is totally real. I'm gonna think about that. We'll put it on the drawing board. Okay, last bit. We gotta pull out all of the stops for this one. Here we go. Let's double check the numbers really quickly. Do I need another one-liner? I think the tent fourth wall joke is the best joke of the night, so maybe we don't try to outdo perfection. Okay, the numbers. 6 for 100, 12 200 feet, 14,000, 56.6 repeating. I'm ready. Let's do this. Traffic cone bit. Here we go. I hate traffic cones. Yeah. Why? come up with a reason to get angry first. I'm all over the place. I'm super nervous. Okay, I hate traffic cones. Grr! I hate them. They're the worst. I mean, golly, I have reasons, people. You want to hear them? Yeah. They will. Oh. Okay, listen. Traffic cones are awful for many reasons. But the number one reason why traffic cones are awful is because they tell me what to do and don't tell me what to do. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I always pay my taxes, and I obey every bit of traffic law. Airplane mode. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not about this. I don't like this. And grr, I don't know. Okay, then I'll make it natural at the moment. Okay, but here's the real reason. Let's start. Before we get into the many reasons why traffic cones are the worst, maybe we should be fair to the traffic cones. And we could say the two things that are best about traffic cones. They are, in fact, orange. That's pretty good. They're cone-shaped. Who doesn't like a good cone-shaped object thing? You might be thinking, Ian, those are the two primary things about a traffic cone. No, they're not. The number one primary thing about a traffic cone is that it annoys me, and I'm about to tell you why. When you're driving, listen, most people, they drive tiny cars. I drive a really big van. And sometimes I need to get into a parking lot that has a lot of cones in it. And they put them so tight together, and I can't fit my big old van through there, so now I need to send someone out of my van to get out of the car, to move a cone, which feels really wrong, by the way, to drive a van through so that they can put the cone back and then get back in my car. And I mean, who does this? This is just too much work. Now, you might be thinking, Ian, those are pretty situational. They sound like pretty subjective reasons for why a person would hate a traffic cone. And you're right. And I can recognize that. I'm the bigger person than the cone. But I do have objective reasons for why traffic cones are the worst thing. The number one thing, let's take a history lesson. Traffic cones were invented by a man named Charles D. Scanlon, who has now been outed on a comedy special. His whole goal was to make a shape. He did. He wanted to be able to throw this object, and that no matter how you threw it, it would always end up standing up again. That's the only design function the traffic cone is supposed to have. How many times have you seen a traffic cone lying on its side? The number one reason it was invented doesn't work. Come on, Charles. So that's like a huge problem. There's like a design flaw. But here's another reason. Do you know that you can go on Amazon right now and you can buy a 6-pack of traffic cones for $100? There's a couple of problems with this. The number one problem with this is that's pretty expensive. 6 for $100? 6 cones, $100. Because you know about traffic regulation. You seeing what I'm seeing. Maybe you don't. Don't worry, you're about to be enlightened. When a construction company works on, let's say they're doing a stretch of highway, about on average, they're gonna work on 4.8 miles at a time. And that means that they need to get, according to traffic regulation, which says you need 12 cones every 250 feet, they need to spend about $14,000 on traffic cones. Why is it so expensive? If you have ever wondered why this traffic project is taking so long, it is because they are burning rubber. Literally. The second reason that I have a problem with the fact that I can go on Amazon and I can buy $100 worth of traffic cones, which is 6, is the fact that anyone can go online and buy $100 worth of traffic cones, which is 6. And I don't trust that many people with Amazon accounts. There is nothing stopping you from making traffic do as you desire. If you have an annoying neighbor, he can't come home. There's an intersection always blocked by your house? Not anymore. It's yours. And that's that's a huge problem. But let's be honest with ourselves, America. Addressing the nation now. No one's gonna do that. No one is gonna go online and buy 6 traffic cones for $100 because you could just steal them instead. No one monitors them. There's no cameras. They're just on the road, lying on their side. I send people out of my van all the time to move these things. Who would notice if 1, 2, $100 worth of traffic cones taken from here and there? And that's a huge problem. And in fact, it is a huge problem. Did you know that 1 million traffic cones are stolen every year? That's 14% of all traffic cones. All of the ones that exist, 14% of them. That means in just over 7 years, every traffic cone you see, new to the rotation. Wasn't there before. Right now, true statistic. You see a random traffic cone, there's a 56.6% repeating chance that it's not supposed to be there. That's over half. I don't like these odds. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't come to you only with complaints. I come to you with solutions. Did you know 80% of the 1 million traffic cones that are stolen every year, at some point in their life, end up on a statue's head? Glasgow, Scotland spends... I wonder if there will be fans of Glasgow, Scotland tonight. Glasgow, Scotland spends 10,000 pounds every year removing cones from heads. And so I present you a solution. We get rid of the traffic cone. It is old, it is bad, it is flawed. And we say, all right, people, you want these on people's heads. We get rid of the traffic cone. We introduce the traffic gnome. Oh yeah. Little short men in orange hats, they point helpfully in the direction your car is supposed to go. No one's gonna steal these bad boys. This is a brilliant idea. I predict that if we can eliminate the 80% of traffic cones of the 1 million that are stolen every year, then over the next 5 years, that 56.6% repeating chance that every traffic cone you see is a lie is slowly reduced to less than 5%, and that is an America that I want to live in. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to the best day of my life.